Hello and welcome to our reviews. Today we'll be reviewing Marvel Legends Onslaught series Loki. Alright, continuing on a bit of a Thor tick, we have Loki. This is a less than classic appearance of Loki. He's much more clothy and less spandexy, and just kind of a cooler design and less old-fashioned. But he still obviously has a lot of the features that make him look like Loki, like color palette, and the big horns and all those sorts of things. He comes with a sword, and of course he comes with the right arm of Onslaught. So yeah, let's go ahead and zoom in for the articulation, sculpt, paint, all those sorts of things. Alright, first off, a little comparison. We've got the Marvel Select movie Thor Loki, with the Marvel Legends Loki here. The Marvel Legends Loki actually ends up being taller because his horns are so much bigger, but obviously the Marvel Select one is actually a bigger figure. And they're two completely different designs, but it's the only other Loki I have, so it's a comparison that I thought I would make. Anyway, let's get Marvel Select Loki out of here and take a look at the Marvel Legends Loki. Alright, here we have Loki. First of all, he's got his horns up here. Now, these are very likely to come out of the package bent in odd ways. Mine aren't perfect. I've fiddled around with them just so they look decent. But you should be able to mess around with them and bend them into place and maybe use some hot water or something and get them to look exactly how you want them to. Obviously, I didn't do it perfectly, but they're somewhat, not mutilated at the moment. And then, of course, you go down further, you got the head sculpt and the helmet and the crown-like thing and all that sort of stuff. We'll zoom in on that in a minute. Onto the outfit, he has some grayish shoulder pads here over his yellow bit of his tunic. It's mostly green from there down, and then you get your little crotch flap there, which has a yellow border. Green and yellow pants with some metal kneecaps, and then you have your brown and yellow boots there. His cape is brown, and it's like a leathery fur sort of look. On the inside, you can actually see sculpted stitching, which is really cool. And then if you flip it over on the back, you get that furry, leathery-looking texture. You can also see the back of his little head flap thing. I don't know what to call that. It's a thing, though. You can see it there on the back of his head. So, yeah, that's pretty much the extent for his outfit. Now, let's look at the head sculpt really quick. So, yes, his face is rather wrinkledy and mutilated, maybe like burnt or something, I'm not exactly sure. But it's certainly not very pleasant to look at. He's much less attractive than Tom Hiddleston is. Either way, it's very nicely sculpted. You can also see the gold detailing on the crown there and the edges of the horns and all that sorts of things. All in all, very nice looking head sculpt in terms of just detail. Of course, it's not very attractive, but, that's just what this design looks like. Alright, let's zoom out and look at some articulation. Articulation-wise, Loki's head is hindered a lot by his little head flap thing, and it doesn't really seem to hinge much up and down either, so the head motion's not too great, but you can get it to turn side to side alright. Ball joint shoulders, once again hindered by the shoulder pads and things. Bicep cut, double joint elbows, forearm cut there, as well as a wrist hinge. Both of his hands are molded into holding positions instead of actually having articulation, so that's a bit of a letdown. Abdominal joint, waist cut, ball joint hips, and an out forward and back, upper thigh cut, double joint knees, boot cut, hinge, pivot that's a bit stiff, and toe joint down there at the foot. So overall, minus the hand articulation, he is pretty standard. His neck and shoulders are a bit limited because of the rubber sculpted armor and stuff like that. It's a bit pliable, so you can get them up far enough, but it's still a bit of a hassle. Anyway, let's move on to his accessory. Alright, Loki comes with this sword. It's a bit difficult to see on camera because of the lighting, but it has these runes etched into the sides of the blade, which are cool. And apart from that, it's just sort of a standard sword. It's not incredibly long, it's a one-handed sword, and it fits in either one of his hands pretty well. Now let's move on to his Onslaught piece. He comes with the right hand of Onslaught here, which is a pretty important thing to have. It's got a big shield-like design on that side, and then it's got all of his fingers over here. Each one of these is individually articulated, as is there a wrist hinge, and a hinge there at the elbow, and a cut there as well. So that's the articulation for Onslaught's arm, if you were curious about that. Now let's move on to the packaging. So yeah, Loki comes in your standard Marvel Legends packaging, Onslaught series. Marvel logo up there, you got an issue of Journey into Mystery in the background, which seems to have had a different cover. I don't know what the original cover of that issue looks like, but it definitely doesn't look like that. This is one of the ones that comes with the card. You can see down there, Marvel Legends Loki, and a picture of the figure as well as Onslaught. Flipping it over on the back, you get your stats, your description, and the other figures in this wave, which are Blackheart, Lady Deathstrike, Abomination, Pyro, Loki, and Green Goblin. I already have a review up of Green Goblin, and you're looking at Loki right now. I also have Pyro and Abomination. You will probably get reviews of those at some point. As always, good for in or out of package display. So yeah, Loki. Alright, that wraps it up for Loki, so until next time, goodbye. Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.